Welcome in to the Bass Pro Shop's Fisherman's Handbook. On today's show, we'll be taking a look at the new Garmin Force Pro trolling motor, a brushless trolling motor engineered with extreme power and Garmin's most precise GPS positioning technology. The Force Pro is packed with features that'll help you find the fish, stay on them, and get more bites.
He's a good one.
Garmin's coming out with a brand new trolling motor. We've made really a lot of headway the last 5 years. We introduced the original force trolling motor, and then we came out with a pivot style motor, which is designed for minimal deck space for walleye and coastal boats. That's our force Kraken trolling motor. That motor comes in 63, 75, and 90-inch shaft lengths. We took it a step further and introduced a 48-inch force Kraken for small bay boats and skiffs. And now we've come out with a motor that I've been really excited about for a long time, the Force Pro trolling motor. It's got a reverse thrust, it has multi-band GPS, and it also has a lighted indicator and the GT56 UHD built into the bottom of it. So really great side view, a lot of other additional features that we've been able to cover out here today, and I've been really impressed with this motor.
Levi traveled from Kansas down to Texas to help the crew get the Force Pro dialed in on Wade's boat. The first thing that had to be done, get the new trolling motor installed.
So we installed the Force Pro at Wade's house, and it's amazing how seamless it was. We had a Force on the boat before, and it just has 6 bolts that mount it, and we were able to easily get access to it, and it was a really easy job to switch the motor out. And then we also installed 2 live scope transducers. We have our LVS 62, which is our perspective mode transducer, and then we have our LVS 34, which is our forward transducer. Alrighty, so we're on Wade's boat and we're gonna look a little bit deeper into our live scope setup. To me, this is the ideal setup. We're able to get those live scope transducers ran to the console, and we were able to get them piped right in here into the day box. So I've got access to not only my battery that's running my live scope, but I can check voltage, I can make sure all the cables are tight, and it comes right in from the console right here, and it's just really seamless. It fits really well into this rod locker, and it's not gonna overheat. And it's a really, really great solution to mounting multiple transducers on this boat. So this trolling motor is super easy to put together and also install. The instructions are very detailed, and one of the really great things that I think Garmin prides itself on is our product support. So if you run into any snags or any issues, you can call right into our tech line, and they can walk you through any sort of troubleshooting or any sort of other things that you might find, because every boat's different when it comes to installing a trolling motor, and you really want to find the right fit and make sure that everything lines up the way you want it to.
To see more great content and take your fishing skills to the next level, subscribe to the Fisherman's Handbook YouTube channel. Here you'll find how-to videos, product features, and in-depth breakdowns that'll help you catch more fish. Just scan the QR code on the screen now and subscribe.
Reversing us out. It is honestly, it's super beneficial to not have to turn your boat around.
The ability to go in reverse is going to eliminate all the silting in a lot of cases that you end up seeing at the back of these pockets, and just the ease of navigation. You're not blowing everything up.
So the reverse thrust on the trolling motor is really key, and it's something that we've been really excited to introduce on this trolling motor. It allows us to have minimal motor movements, so it's not having to search or move, and it also allows us to have better accuracy. So when you're out crappie fishing or bass fishing, and you find a stump or a brush pile you want to fish on, and a windy day like today, you might blow past it. And so it's really, really key to be able to hit reverse and back up off of that structure, and it allows you to make more precise casts. And today we were out here, and when you're pitching at them on beds, you might actually go past a fish and turn back around and see it, and you don't have to turn the boat all the way around. You can just reverse right back and throw right to that bass. So we're out here today with the new Garmin Force Pro trolling motor, and I'm going to show you how to manually shift it into reverse. So right now we have it green lit up with 4 bars, which means we're going forward. You can see I'm taking the boat, and to shift it, you can manually shift it into reverse. You double tap the heading hold button, and it's going to turn our lights red. It's going to remember the last setting that you had it on. So if 4 is what stops your boat, it'll take it to 4. You press the button and it'll back the boat up or stop the boat if we're sitting there looking at brush piles or looking at other structure. And just as the same as you took it out, double tap heading hold again, and it'll take you right back to being in forward mode. So with this boat, we decided to go ahead and put 2 transducers on it, and running the LVS 62 and the 34 is a great combination because you have that extended range, you don't get any interference, but you can still get away with 1 transducer without an issue. We make a perspective mount that comes with our LiveScope Plus system, and all you have to do is pull the trolling motor up and rotate it into forward. But I prefer to be able to see my bait for certain situations where maybe the fish are a little bit more out there and a little bit more active. You can physically see what direction they're facing in, and it gives you a more clear picture of where you're trying to break down when you're fishing. So right now on perspective mode, we're coming back into a creek drain, and you can see both sides of the cattails, and then we're going right down the middle of it, and with the perspective mode, you can see it clear as day.
Dude, that is cool.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's the highway for a bass right there. Now you really can see the entire lane. I mean, if you're a fish, you're swimming down that drain. You can just see how it lays out. Holy cow.
The new Force Pro trolling motor has a multitude of benefits and tools for anglers to use. The multiband GPS signal reception and integrated heading sensor delivers superior performance when in anchor lock. Wireless integration with Garmin chart plotters helps anglers to create routes and tracks to follow when they fish. And the built-in sonar integration with the GT56 UHD transducer delivers ultra-high definition sonar to view structure and fish, both below and to the sides of the boat.
All right, so this new Garmin Force Pro trolling motor has the GT56 UHD transducer built into the bottom of the trolling motor. Super great transducer. It's got really good clarity, and right now we're going through this ditch, and you can see all of the trees on side view, and the 56 gives you a lot of clarity. It's a little bit of a higher frequency, and so you get really good clear view and side view image as we kind of go around and look at all these different brush piles, and there's trees, and you can even start to see the reeds as we kind of get up even shallower. So when it comes to boat integration and getting everything to communicate, whether you're running GPS maps or echo maps, and we even integrate with power poles, it's just really nice to be able to control your power poles from the units, control your trolling motor from the units, and it really takes the time out of having to have different screens or different remotes, and it makes stuff so seamless.
We've now reached our second break in the show. Coming up next on the Bass Pro Shops Fisherman's Handbook, take a look at another great innovation from Garmin, LiveScope. Stay tuned to hear the top pros talk about how it helps them out on the water.
If you've watched me fish in years past, I'm a guy that likes technology. I enjoy technology, and I've embraced technology and where it's going to do. But mostly I've embraced it because of what it's taught me and how much more efficient it has made me. When I look at LiveScope as a whole, man, I look back at what I believed fish are doing and now what I know they're doing, and I'm like, boy, oh boy, I guess you convinced yourself that you could catch them this way, but the fish were really doing this. LiveScope tells us that. You see fish moving, you see different things, you see stumps in a different manner, you see how bait fish are setting up, you see how things are reacting to your bait in an all-due manner.
Yeah, I've learned a lot about fish behavior. I was very, very fortunate to be, I don't know if I was the first guy to run the old Panoptics, but I've had it for a long time, and if there's anything that I've learned with LiveScope, it's how fish behave and how their senses, if you get around them, and that was 10 years ago. You can you can see it. You put the trolling motor down, and these fish know that you're there. You see how they react to your bait. You see how they change based on cloudy, sunny, windy, boat traffic, water color. There's so many different variables that go in, and having LiveScope, you're able to see that pretty quickly. And there's one thing about LiveScope is There's nothing that can hide underwater now. I mean, you know, the old days of going out and putting a brush pile in and nobody finding it are over, because I can simply pull up, make one swipe, I can see all the brush, I can see all the fish, all the rocks, all of that good stuff.
How you use LiveScope definitely changes with the seasons. You know, a lot of times we see videos of LiveScope, guys catching and chasing nomadic fish. A lot of times that's really predominant through the winter time, early spring months. When the fish go to spawn, you've got some guys now that are utilizing perspective mode, fishing for spawning bass, and then when they come off the beds, a lot of times they really relate tight to cover. So tight that sometimes you can't even see them with LiveScope. So you have to be really good at understanding the type of cover that bass sit around, and we do what I call cover scoping, right? We're not fishing for individual fish, we're fishing specific cover, making specific casts, whether it's down a grass line, on a brush pile, next to a stump, a drop. And so it really, the season determines what type of live scoping you're going to be doing.
You know, forward-facing sonar has really changed the way that I approach a lot of lakes. I see myself fishing a lot deeper on clear lakes like Table Rock, Smith Lake, different places where fish really suspend deeper. Fish where we didn't even know where they were at. Other things is like, I love to structure fish. Used to, you'd pull up on a piece of structure, maybe it was a brush pile that I put out myself, and you'd make 15, 20 casts and finally touch it, and then throw a buoy out and then get your line up. It might take 15 minutes. Might not even happen that day. Now, if live scope, you roll up there, pan around, there it is, you make the very first cast. What I've known from that or learned is the fact that the biggest fish will bite on the first cast because you didn't pester him around and let him know you were there. You made the perfect cast on the first cast, and without technology from forward-facing sonar, that could have never happened.
All right, we're right here at the power plant intake, and you can see there's a rock break wall right here, and right a little bit farther down there's some reeds. And so that bottom composition is going to change from really hard rock bottom to more of a soft composition. You can see right here on LiveScope, you can see that really good return where it's really hard is going to give you a brighter image. And then it transitions over to that softer, more of that silty mud. And you can see there's several tilapia beds. You can kind of see the different shadows. And we have our range set to 110 feet because with that XR you can see a little bit further. You can see all of the beds that are in this area right here, and you know, really see that bottom composition really change. There's a huge transitional line, so you can throw a bait right over the top of that rock, and those fish a lot of times will be waiting on the edge, ready to ambush your bait.
Time now for our final break. When we return, Wade and Levi go back out on the water to continue to put the Garmin Force Pro trolling motor to use and catch a few fish. Don't go away.
Get him in here. That's a good one, Levi. Double. Doubled up. You gotta like the doubles when you can get them. You don't get those very often. Nice.
So we had a really big front come in yesterday, and that kind of affected our fishing over at the other power plant lake. So we decided to make a shift, and we came about an hour and a half, and we moved to a different body of water, and winds had shifted. You know, we had a north wind, a little post-frontal conditions, a little bit tougher fishing, but you know, it's nice with these power plant lakes. They stay at a constant water temperature, and it really helps out when the weather starts to get a little dicey around here.
You know, Fayette County Lake, what a incredible body of water. I've been fortunate enough to fish it for over 20 years. I've had some great fishing trips over here, caught them a lot of different ways. It's a power plant lake. There's a lot of them across the nation. This is just one that happens to be more fertile than most. A lot of different places to fish. You've got rocks on the dam, you've got some jetties, you've got cattails at certain times of the year they're going to be in the water. You've got timber, you've got a tremendous population of largemouth bass. It's full of tilapia also. Catfish, you see a lot of people out here enjoying it, great campgrounds. I mean, it's just a cool fishery that I fish 3 to 4 times every year. And when I get a chance to come over and fish it, it's just always amazing to me how healthy and how big the fish are. And it's, I mean, if you're visiting, whether you're a winter Texan or you live in this area, I think it's a body of water you gotta go fish. Got him? Right on the rocks, wasn't he?
Right on the rocks. That's a good fish right there.
Right on the rock. Good one. Coming up.
Good fish.
Let me grab that one. No, let me grab that one for you. hooked in a horrible spot. Come here, fish.
Nice.
There you go. Good one there. Get the hook out of there. There you go.
Ooh, that's a
Good
Texas
4
bass.
pound. Hold on. Good one there, buddy.
This fish was right up on the rocks. I mean, was in right up on the bank. Really beautiful 4-pounder here. Really healthy fish. You know, look at all his fins and how thick he is. Really, really beautiful Texas bass.
That's a good one right there. That's what you're looking for.
Put him right back in there.
Let him
Go
grow
eat
up.
some more.
You know, when you get to fishing in the wind, a few key things. I like, you can go fish a windy bank because a lot of people don't want to fight those windy banks. It's tough. And so a lot of times you're fishing for unpressured fish during that day. They're tucked up in coves and in the backwater stuff. I'm not afraid to get out in it, but make sure you have the right gear to be able to get in at your boat and you are capable of handling that. Be safe, be careful, because when you get out in that big water, it can get rough. When that wind is hitting those, you know, rocks or timber or points or whatever it may be, it changes the dynamics in those areas. How you fish, what bait you're gonna fish, and how you're gonna position the boat. I like to have the wind at my back in a lot of those situations where it's hard to cast a bait caster into high winds. Let that wind kind of push me down it. Then if I start getting bites, I can hit that anchor lock, let that boat, you know, hold itself. I can retie, I can unhook the fish, I can help my buddies land it, and then I can get back up in that same situation and make repetitive casts.
All right, so we're out here today putting the new Garmin Force Pro trolling motor through its paces. It's probably gusting around 25 right now, and that reverse thrust on this motor is crucial. You know, it's reducing our motor activity without affecting our position accuracy, which is super important because the motor needs to make sure that it's always in the right position no matter what conditions we're in, but it's also not going to utilize the motor unless it needs to. It's going to make the motor quieter as well. And so right now, I'm going to go ahead and put it into anchor lock. And you'll notice the head didn't have to turn around and back us up. It's keeping us straight. And you're gonna see this bar right here is gonna fluctuate usually between 1 and 5 in these conditions. And all that is it's regulating how much it needs to move to really keep us right on that spot. And this head right here has multi-band GPS in it, so it's right on the shaft, and it makes it way, way, way more accurate, and it's really crucial on windy days like today. And you'll notice if at any point it gets a little bit too far forward, this will actually reverse and go into red, but we have enough wind today that more than likely it's not gonna have to reverse. We'll go to get in a little bit of a calmer pocket where that's gonna be utilized a little bit more.
Captured one. Look how dark that fish is.
Nice.
Dark. These fish are pretty over here. I mean, that's an overused term because all fish are pretty, but they just have that real classic green look. Got him? Same
Double
spot
up.
almost. We weren't. Why do you always catch a bigger one than mine? I gotta throw him back in here. I don't know, I might outweigh you. Let's see. My arms are gonna be longer on this one, Levi. Ah, mine's bigger. If you don't have fun fishing, something's wrong. But I mean, both those fish came within 30 yards of each other.
Yeah, right on the same area. So one of the really unique opportunities that my position has at Garmin is really on the water testing. And you know, I deal with a lot of TV shows and pro anglers, and being able to actually speak to the customers is super important. And being able to come out here for a couple days, take a new product, really put it through its paces is just super crucial to be able to understand your products. And you know, it's really something great that Garmin does, is allowed their employees to have opportunities like this, because you know, it's one thing to sit in a room and talk about the product and look at technical specs, but actually going out there and getting real world applications from a pro like Wade, who's been fishing for a long time, is really, really resourceful for me and is really going to help me have more success, not only with my job at Garmin, but also go home and fish some of the power plant lakes that we have in the Midwest.
That spot on his back, that's so cool. Really cool.
Nice one.
This will conclude this episode of the Bass Pro Shops Fisherman's Handbook. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. This has been a Carico TV production.